All right, top of the hour. Good morning and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for Scaling Pre-Sales, how to organize your pre-sales teams when resources are scarce, customers are more demanding, and software evolves at the speed of light with Natasja Bax. My name is Garrett Erickson. I'm the product marketing manager here at Consensus, and I will be your moderator for today's session. DEMOFEST is presented by Consensus. Consensus is intelligent demo automation software that helps you scale pre-sales with interactive video demos. You can learn more about us at goconsensus.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, join our Scaling Pre-Sales page on LinkedIn as well. Tons of content there. We're really proud to provide DEMOFEST as a free resource to you all today and through the entire week that we've been doing this. But we would like to give you an opportunity to give back. So if you wouldn't mind going to the reception area, or you can go to goconsensus.com/donate, which I will post in the chat in a couple of minutes here. You can check out the organizations that were highlighted in our keynote session and be able to check out these amazing organizations you can give back to. We'd love for you to participate in today's session. On the right side of your console, you're going to see a few different ways that you can engage with us. One of those is through the chat function, which you can show there, and you can post your commentary throughout this. You can ask some questions, but they may get buried there. Throughout this session and others, you may see polls. So we encourage you to take polls if you see them. We love your feedback, and it's really important to our presenters to get that too for their own research purposes. Lastly, Natasja will be taking questions throughout the session. Some people have been taking them at the end. She wants to take them throughout the session as well as at the end. So post your questions in the Q&A section at any time, and we're going to get to some here and there, and then anything that's not answered throughout the session will get answered at the end or afterwards. If at any time you have any technical difficulties, please toggle over your profile in the upper right corner and click Get Support, and someone will be able to help you. And now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the impressive Natasja Bax. She is the founder of the Demo Scene, focused on helping software organizations improve their sales results, primarily through improving organizations' demonstrations. The bulk of her experience is with complex enterprise software sold to varied audiences in a range of vertical markets. For many years, she has been in the pre-sales consultant space, and for the last 15 years, she has been training and coaching pre-sales consultants to improve their skills. And with that, I will turn the rest of the time over to you, Natasja.
Thank you, Garrett. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Wow, these are exciting times for pre-sales professionals. Suddenly, the profession became cool and strategic for the company. And wow, the job has changed rapidly over the years. Let's take a quick look at the evolution. In the early days of the profession, which is highlighted here in yellow, says that pre-sales spend about 50% of their time on customer-related activities, and half of their time on customer-facing activities, presenting with the darker yellow, like customer meetings, presentations, and demos. Also, half of their time was spent on customer-related activities in the lighter yellow, like answering RFPs and preparing for meetings. In turquoise, you see that they spend about 40% of their time on building knowledge, both on the product and on the industry. In dark blue, you see that roughly half a day a week was needed for other activities, like internal meetings and some administration. Now, fast forward to 2015. The profession was well settled, and managers started using metrics and time registration to manage their teams. It helped pre-sales professionals to spend more time on customer-related activities. Pre-sales teams were more involved in marketing activities, as is now shown in the lighter blue. A new color pops up. They needed to create content and present at marketing events, where before this was taken care of by the marketing teams. Now pre-sales was involved. This resulted in less time spent on getting updated on the knowledge. Now, where are we today? The buying behavior of customers has changed, as you all know. The B2B customer acts more as a consumer, and they want instant gratification. Marketing efforts by pre-sales teams are more demanding, with the demo button on your websites. And pre-sales is now much more involved in the early stages of the customer buying journey, activities that were before the responsibility of marketing. And where before there might have been a yearly cadence with new product releases, today most software evolves at the speed of light with monthly or quarterly updates, making your job much tougher. Now, how can you and your team keep up with all this new information without your heads exploding? And in addition to all this, SaaS dramatically changed sales process as the sale never ends. This means that the pre-sales cycle continues as well, and more customer contact is needed. What you would expect is that pre-sales would spend much more time with customers and on product knowledge. Now, although there's much more customer contact needed, we don't see that back in the spread of the work. The Great Resignation makes it difficult to find and hire people with the right skill set. And you might have seen some of your superstars leaving to other companies or even to competitors. And your team members have to step in to cover for the open position. And this is presented by the green parts in the diagram. Dark green for customer-facing activity, lighter green for other related work. And this takes a lot of time. And the result of all that is that your team is working long hours and there's hardly any time left for knowledge transfer. Now, these numbers are loosely based on the research that's done by Consensus in the last year. Now, not only the focus of the work changed, but also the way we work changed dramatically over the last years. Now, let's take a closer look at the customer-facing activities. Until 2000, all the work was done in person. In 2015, some customer meetings were remote. We all have seen these horrifying online demos back in the days. Don't ever play them back. There was very little automation of the work. Only a few marketing videos were created. After that, things started to change quite rapidly. And over the last 2 years in the pandemic, the job has transformed incredible. We all noticed the effect of COVID on working, and the vast majority of customer meetings is still online and will remain online. The good news, however, is the rise of pre-sales automation tools, such as Consensus. These tools can make your life much easier by automating repetitive tasks. And the same counts for marketing activities. Many of these can be automated as well. Now, let us go back to the subject of the presentation. How can you organize your pre-sales teams when resources are scarce, customers are more demanding, and software evolves at the speed of light? In this session, we'll discuss the Rake-model, a customer-centric setup that can help you to organize your pre-sales teams. Now, what is that Rake-model, and how can you enable your team in the best way to meet your goals? What do you need to keep everybody up to date, and how can you retain talent? In the next 40 minutes, you'll learn about the Rake-model and how customer success stories will make your team more customer focused while keeping them up to date on relevant product developments. The Rake-model will help you to maximize your talents by making your colleagues happier in their work because they can do what they do best and enjoy most, hopefully. Now, why is that new model needed? The new model is needed because most current structures are built on product focus, with team organized based on product expertise. And why is that not working anymore? Why do you need to change that? Well, the simple answer is because your customers demand it. If you want to be successful, you need to change. And in today's B2B customers, they are well educated, they're very assertive, and they don't like the feature push and the vendor who only seems to care about their own objectives. Today's buyers, they expect you to help them to achieve their goals. They desire a conversation with you in which you decide together on how to move forward and have a collective journey to find the best possible solution to meet their needs and their objectives. And you would need people in your team to excel in these conversations. Now let us go back to the basis. What is a typical profile for a pre-sales person? Depending on the industry, pre-sales leaders look for specific professionals. And in some industries like finance and accounting, understanding the customer language and processes has always been most important. Pre-sales leaders tend to look for professionals with a background in the line of business or the vertical, and then teach the new hires the product and communication skills. Situational fluency in those industries was always very important. People who are fluent on the content, they understand, they live the processes, they've been there, they understand the gains, the challenges. And in some industries like pharma and life sciences, your audience won't give you any credit if you don't know, for example, what an antibody is. Well, in other lines of businesses like security, pre-sales leaders tend to focus on product knowledge and product use experience. And these leaders feel that they can teach the business side, the customer language, and they can teach communication skills. And what about young professionals? Could they easily enter the SE job? Yes, of course. But young professionals, however, they are very often selected based on their communication skills. And the internal academy should cover the rest. Well, this can be risky. Young professionals tend to start their pre-sales career working in the SME space, at the smaller deals. Now, the recently hired young professional speaks to a CEO of a small company. The CEO is worried about the 40 people who work for him. He's got mouths to feed. And she, the young professional, she's worried about getting her bonus. And this can result in very painful situations, as you can imagine. Peter Cohen has written a nice article about these transactional demos, and please send me a message if you want to receive that. Well, I believe that graduates should spend significant amount of time with customers who are using your software to understand how the software is used and what good things it can do for your customers, to build situational fluency. So send them over for a couple of weeks to work side by side with the user of the application, or bring them first into customer success or the support team. Now, in today's world, the modern buyer, which is, by the way, a team of, on average, 6.8 actively involved stakeholders, they want to buy from vendor people who understand them, who can help them to solve their issues, and are able to have an open dialogue on what is needed. They require SEs with situational fluency. So we strongly recommend that you focus your hiring process on the yellow, the right circle, and create strong onboarding programs to teach product and technology knowledge and communication skills. To find the best candidates, you need to invest time in exploring your customer base, for instance. And if you sell to HR or human capital software, reach out to HR networks and get in touch with HR managers, advisor, HR assistants. They understand what HR is about, and they are able to have the conversations that are needed. They already have situational fluency. And during onboarding, your main focus is to teach them your software and communication and demo skills. Very likely, you will have a couple of people with experience in the field, and you will have a few with a strong software background and deep knowledge of your products. Now, how can you leverage both types of people? How can you best organize your team? Today, software companies tend to be more successful if their go-to-market motions are customer-centric rather than product-focused, and when their pre-sales processes have evolved around this idea. If you want a customer-centric organization, the Rake-model could be very useful. The Rake-model consists of two types of pre-sales. Some are more customer and industry-oriented, let's call them customer advisors, and others are more expertise-oriented. But still, they know a lot about, for instance, taxes or about recruitment in the HR space. And I call them subject matter experts. The customer advisors have enough knowledge about the software to have conversations with customers and to deliver demos and support POCs using the entire platform. They don't go very deep in the software, but deep enough to have a solid conversation with the customer in the language of the client. And very important, they know when and when not to involve the subject matter experts. And that last aspect is very important. It's crucial that a customer advisor can cover many conversations without needing the subject matter expert, giving the SME more time to prepare for customer meetings, keeping up to date, and to prepare material for others in the organization. Now, this Rake-model refers to the garden tool with a toothed top. And in the toothed top, you'll find the customer advisors who invest in the relationship with the customers, and the handle represents the SME. Situational fluency is key to sell your software. Today's AEs are also expected to have conversations with customers on what's happening in the industry, what's happening in their business, and the impact of technology. They need to become more knowledgeable about customer business and develop that situational fluency. There is it again. And some organizations, they try to solve the issue by introducing solution sales as an extra layer. Well, the issue with solution sales is that they tend to compete with each other, and they cannot judge which solution is the best for the customer. Now, very often this becomes the responsibility of the pre-sales organization, and that's a lot. You basically take over a part of the AE role. So this might go two ways. Either the AE will invest more time in understanding the customers, or pre-sales teams will in the end outnumber sales teams, and the AE role diminishes even further. Anyway, someone needs to be able to have that situational fluency, being able to connect the dots. If not, you'll end up with a centipede sales call. In a centipeded sales call, many people are involved and each individual delivers a compelling solution for a specific area, but nobody is able to connect those solutions into a concrete vision on how to help the customer. Now imagine being an HR manager in a retail company and a vendor delivers a demo to you. They have spent 30 minutes on showing how their software can improve your recruitment processes. Another 30 minutes on how you can get the legal and administrative part done. They showed cool capabilities of employee and manager self-service and concluded with a 45-minute session about talent management. Now, this is all nice, but nobody was able to show you how these different products work together. And on the topic of onboarding, you only got a flashy PowerPoint slide, including a very complex architecture. Well, you as an HR manager, you're not looking for a system of records anymore, where you can just administer all the activities. You are looking for a software partner, understanding the extremely high employee turnover rates and the need to high speed and easy onboarding, as this is the most crucial part of your job today. And nobody of the vendor team seemed to be able to match their capabilities to your situation. Now, how would you feel? Yeah, like you wasted your time. They don't understand it. Before we explore in detail how the customer-centric Rake-model can help in these situations, let's take a few steps back and discuss more product-related organizational structures. Pulling up a picture again. Small software solutions typically have vendor teams who know all about every specific capability. I call this the COM model. It's a difficult English word for me to pronounce. Where everybody understands the concepts, the possibilities for the customer, and how it all fits together. The teeth represent the various features and the ways to modify them. And they have a very powerful vision on how the product can help, all functionality included. The only misconception is that they believe that this vision is stunning for everybody and should be copy and pasted in all organizations. And as they are so well informed and fond of their product, it's easy like ABC to them. They sometimes forget that the customer doesn't get it. They suffer from the curse of knowledge. And what typically happens is that the customer and their problems are forgotten. And when the results are not as good as expected and the product grows, they tend to use a different structure. Now let me illustrate that with a picture as well. So the first situation, small software product, they understand the vision of the entire product. They know all the details of the capabilities. Now the product grows, gets more functionality, modules appear, more SEs are needed. Some SEs have deep understanding of module A, others of module B. But all SEs understand the core concepts and the vision of the entire product. This is where most companies introduce the T-shaped SE. Within pre-sales teams, each pre-sales need to have deep understanding of one of the modules, a specific subject within the portfolio. And they need to have some understanding of the complete solution, the vision. They can act as generalists and as specialists for their own expertise. Now, this T model can still be risky as the product grows. Companies sometimes decide to hire generalists without understanding the capabilities in the different modules or the products. It holds the unwanted possibility of leaving generalists high and dry when not being able to see the underlying connections with the capabilities in the different modules. Now, the product grows, some acquisitions are done, the solution, those are the T-shaped people, the solution exists now of multiple products with each a set of modules. And now things are getting very complicated for SE teams. Let me give you another example. A month ago, I was asked to coach during a practice run. And the industry principal was an inspiring presenter. And she painted an amazing picture of the future of business transformation to the cloud. She used many reference names like ASML and Philips. And this was clearly the way to go for the logistical department of this high-tech company. She ended by sharing a compelling picture on how the warehouse system, the stock level, the customer demand information, the production capacity, and the transportation software would all be integrated. And they visually were connected with very nice circles. And then the rest of the team presented their piece. Someone for warehouse management, someone about production planning, another person about fancy transport management capabilities. They were all experts in their fields, addressing the various pain points and sharing business value. At the end, I asked them, now, how can a customer quickly respond to a standstill in the Suez Canal? How can they optimize their supply chain and make clever decisions on how to serve the customers in the best way? Well, they said, they looked at each other, and then they finally said, well, maybe we also need to invite a specialist in the optimization model. So what is missing in this team? They have a lot of generalists, and they have the specialist. The specialists some have some overall understanding of some of the products. But what is missing is that no one can connect the dots. Someone needs to be able to connect the dots at the deeper level than just organizing a lineup of the SMEs and starting with some fancy visionary PowerPoint slide. Now, please type in chat if you recognize this. Has this happened ever to you? That you found that you and your team, you didn't get the message across because there were so many different perspectives, but nobody was able to see that picture. Let's say yes with passion by Peter, and Eduardo is recognizing this. This is why I recommend the Rake model, using more or less the same types of pre-sales as in the T model, but the combination and the composition enables more cohesion to make sure both groups can hold a conversation with the customer on how to solve the problems instead of just organizing the process. And the horizontal bar in the T needs to involve in a toothed T. So what's in those teeth? That's difficult. Deeper knowledge of the overall solution, knowledge on integration areas, knowledge on customer reference cases. These customer advisors have more situational fluency. They can step away from the corporate and the architecture overview presentations, and they are able to present a vision for a particular prospect to solve their specific problems. So how does this Rake model work to Presales' advantage? Customer advisors invest in a relationship with customers. They, however, have more detailed knowledge than the T-shaped model. They know their business relations aren't looking for that system of records anymore, but for a software partner that sees the bigger picture and understand what they need in order to beat competition or to innovate faster. And these customer advisors know how to explore the best suitable IT roadmap for the customer because they are well informed about the latest trends in their client's industry and on the software industry, but also have the knowledge themselves. They get it, they understand it. They know how all the components work together and in which way the customer can quickly respond to a standstill in the previous example. And they have a clear vision on how to optimize the entire supply chain and help the prospect to becoming more customer-centric. They have that situational fluency and they interpret and demonstrate the software in the language of the customer.
So with that, Natasja, before you go on, a couple questions have come through the chat here. As you try to build that organizational fluency, the concept of having the SE spend time with the customers and the clients, that really resonated. How much time should new SEs spend weekly with customers and having these conversations to build that fluency?
Well, that's a great question. It's a great question. It's something that I'd like to cover. I believe, giving a lot of my how you say that, giving a little bit away already. I believe the model needs to change. There needs to be a new way of doing things. You need to be more clever in what you do. I believe that in today, you would spend about 50 to 60% of your time on customers, and that needs to be a little bit more, like 70 or 80%. Is that enough for now? Is that enough answer to the question now?
Yes, perfect. And then one other one, thinking about where to pull these customer-centric people from if you want to hire internally. Which departments have you seen in your experience yield the best potential SEs?
Customer success and support, but those people, you cannot just take them from these departments and put them into the pre-sales role because they tend to have a product focus. Their job is to help the customer implementing the software. So there needs to be a path to educate them. And I believe that sometimes is forgotten. I believe that a lot of customers, a lot of companies, they think, oh, you know the product, you know how to demo it in a workshop during implementation, then you know how to demo it in a sales process, and that is a different way. And I believe those people go via the SME, so via the handle, because that can give them that first tryout, and then from there they can grow into becoming a customer advisor. The best customer advisors, I believe, you can find at your customers or in the industry. Let me put it that way.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Keep the questions coming as we go.
So, and that question is a nice bridge to talk about the next topic, because, well, between us, this Rake, well, that's not rocket science, of course. Maybe your organization is already set up like this. Maybe it's some tuning. The real deal is how you make this work in today's world. And that's where the question came from as well. Where again, software evolves at the speed of light. Sorry, not at the speed of light, very quickly, I believe. The buying journey has evolved and customers are requesting demos with a click on a button. You may be unable to find people to satisfy the demands. That's what the next part of this presentation is about. So let's change gears and talk about an approach that can help you to maximize your team effectiveness and to build that situational fluency. The key is to have a library with pre-prepared material using customer success stories to be used external, but maybe even more important for internal purposes. And we strongly recommend you capture informal customer stories, as these are much easier to develop. You don't use the specific customer names. And accordingly, you don't need to go through legal with the customer because they always want to take out the most essential information, the juicy stuff, and they age. Informal success stories give you more freedom in the wording and the content. And you can share them with prospects, but also internally in the following way. What we hear from other marketing managers in retail is that their biggest challenge is to increase brand awareness and incremental sales within budget restrictions. They said that this is difficult as they have limited insights in different data sources, and they need to involve IT each time, which takes too long to react quickly to competitor initiatives. What they said they need is, and now you position your own solution in the customer's words, and you tie this to the value that it brings. And next you show one or two of your most compelling software screens, clearly showing that you solve the issue for that this customer is having. And when you have a library with this kind of information, you can use this for your customer meetings, for internal knowledge transfer, for online meetings, in-person meetings, and also for your demo automation. And when you use customer stories to the max, they provide a flywheel effect of your team, enabling your team to take advantage of the momentum generated. Customer success stories are the key to scaling your pre-sales team. Now let's discuss one by one how you can use these stories to deal with your challenges. Demanding customers, continuous evolving software capabilities, scarce resources. Now, where would you like to start? Who is the most important entity of your working life? I can all hear you shouting in your room. Yes, the customer. The customer buying journey often starts with browsing the web nowadays. So let's start by satisfying the request for a demo via your website, which is mainly a marketing activity that takes much time off today's pre-sales teams. The early stages of the customer buying journey have become very important. The B2B customer acts as a consumer, looking for instant gratification. And since technology changes faster than ever, customers simply cannot keep up with all the changes. The informal part of the buying journey has become very important, and very often the decision is already made when the project hits the project calendar. So you should not out-qualify these opportunities. You need to build a relationship in these early stages to stay ahead of competition. And as mentioned before, this was typically the field of your marketing teams. But as customers simply request a demo, it has become part of your SE job. So how do you treat companies in these early stages? How can you move customer forward and build relationships? This is a risky part of the sales cycle, as chances are high that the initiative will never make it to the project calendar. So you don't want to waste too much time. You don't want to waste your resources. But still, you need to generate a vision in the customer's mind based on what your solution can do well. And I believe that demo automation plays a crucial role in this stage. My guidance? Start your automated demo with a customer success story to provide context before going into the functionality. Now, maybe I shouldn't say this here. Video automation is not a holy grail. There needs to be some human interaction. So follow up on that video. Have short interactions after the client has watched the demos. Ask them what they liked. Repeat which problems are solved with your software. And use that momentum to ask your qualification and discovery questions. How can you satisfy the more demanding customer who expects you to speak their language and understand their business? You use success stories of their peers, their industry. You create demos based on those cases, and next you automate these demos. And these are referred to as vision generation demos in the Great Demo methodology.
So on that subject, Natasja, before we go, internally at Consensus, we talk about some of the KPIs that we've seen, just anecdotally work for reaching out for that personal interaction after a vision demo or a demo automation experience when someone watches. What have you found are the best ways or the best times to reach out after sending that automated video demo?
Immediately. But mainly, I believe it is the role of the seller to do that first follow-up, and not the role of the SE. If the SE would do all that, that wouldn't help in a way, because we try to automate this part to give them back some time. But I believe the seller needs to react as quickly as possible, because the longer they wait, the more the impact of the video goes away. But I can believe that you from Consensus, you've better research. This is what you do. So this is just what I believe it would be. But Garrett, if you have other insights, bring them on.
Yep, that tracks with us. We say about 5 minutes, right? For that a seller needs to reach out 5 minutes, within 5 minutes after they get that notification that someone's watched their demo. So that tracks.
Yeah. Now let's change gears, if that's okay, and talk about the other challenges that we were seeing. I'm pulling up that picture again. Let's talk about that software evolves so quickly. New features and functions are released quicker and quicker, and product acquisitions are becoming yearly events. Products are evolving very quickly. No wonder it's hard for presales to keep up. Now let's discuss what can you do to stop their heads from exploding. What most people don't know is that customer organizations and industries, they don't change as quickly as your products. Various customers in the industry or in the line of business very often have the same challenges and needs. In general, it's much easier to stay current on the customer organization and the industry trends than on your product. The best way to keep up to date with product developments and to keep customer centricity is to create customer success stories on new software features and make them available for the team to keep each other up to date. As often pre-sales professionals have been waiting for months on a specific capability, on specific functionality, there's an extreme strong tendency to show the new feature in all the demos, making them longer and longer. I believe the key is to teach new functionality in the context of a success story. It will help your team to position new features only when they are relevant. New updates only make sense if they solve customer issues. And if you're not able to create a customer success story, maybe the feature is not as important as the developer thought. Secondly, I strongly recommend investing time in updating your knowledge on a case-by-case customer basis. not by pushing the information into the organization. No product update days where developers push everything what's new. Developers should publish new customer stories based on launching customers. As new information won't be pushed into the organization, your pre-sales team needs to be proactively looking for updates when they need it. This means reserving more time to prepare for customer engagement. Again, more time. The SE team needs to have more time for each customer contact, not only to research the customer, but also to research the database of relevant product updates and capability information. Now, there's good news. Fortunately, with the rise of all kinds of pre-sales automation tools, it makes it much easier for you to find the relevant information. An excellent way to keep each other internally updated is to create videos with those customer success stories, including the newest developments. You create them once, and the entire organization can benefit from them. But pay attention. This requires that the pre-sales professionals can search for information that when they need it. It is a pull mechanism, and it requires discipline from different stakeholders in the organization. So get in touch with product marketing. Dig into your existing material. Invest in a tool to help you structure and find all stories available and give your team access to all this information. We recommend pre-sales managers to include creating and recording customer success stories as specific objectives for each team member. As you will need this library updated, well, maybe not on a daily, but on a weekly basis, or at least on a monthly basis. Informal customer success stories are the key to building situational fluency, which is needed to be that thought leader, the person communicating the vision, who connects all the different solutions, and who can communicate what IT means to the business. Every organization needs to scale their pre-sales teams. There's more work to do than resources available. So what do you think is needed most? Yeah, that's right. Time. Just time. What's needed to increase the success of your team is to give them more time. But how do you do that? By more automation. As preparation for customer interaction should have the highest priority, it's crucial to automate all repetitive tasks. There are great tools in the market to help your teams with answering RFPs, conducting POCs, automate their demos, or support live demos better, measure actions, integrate everything into CRM systems. It is key to automate to free up time and reduce friction, to be successful and to increase the job satisfaction of your team members. Most pre-sales professionals are very clever and they want to be challenged. They don't like needless repetition. They will leave if it's too boring for them. Now, the key question here is, which task have you currently automated? And how much time did that free up? And another question to ask is, what can you stop doing? As Peter Cohen often says to us, we are victims of momentum, saying, well, we've always done things that way. Tasks and processes should be re-examined periodically if they're still relevant. So ask yourself, what else can be automated? Which tasks are repetitive? And how much time could you save? To make that Rake-model successful, you need to know what your team members are good at and what they like best. And as the team works in the metrics, everybody needs to know who is working with which customers and to share information with each other. You also need tools to track who excels in which role and who needs more support or training or might fit better in a different role. And tools like Vivian, HIP, and Homer can help you with that. Garrett, quick question. Shall I talk about SaaS or do you want to wrap this up?
We've got a couple more minutes, so if you want to talk about SaaS, I haven't had any new questions come in.
So how can the Rake model support these everlasting sales cycles? With SaaS, the sales cycles stages change. Let me pull up a picture for that as well. Now, previously, you might have been focused on the fit of your solution in the early stages. It's now crucial to focus on business results and outcomes. How do your prospects measure success? What is crucial for success? Where before you were qualifying the customer out when they were not ready to buy, now you should engage in a conversation and build that relationship. Where before you were focused on pitching your solution to the customer, it's now crucial to diagnose even further. You don't want to sell a solution which will get you into a nightmare later. You need to be sure that your solution and your vision matches customer needs and will bring them success. And that's a different game. To support these stages, it's crucial that the pre-sales professional not only speaks the language of the customer, but is capable of fully understand the solution that you are proposing. They need to have more in-depth knowledge about relevant capabilities. And again, connecting the dots between the different subject matter experts. And the tooth at the rake are key here. The pre-sales need to go deeper and being fully understanding on and to be able to discuss your vision. SaaS implies that someone continues the conversation with the customer. Your pre-sales team needs to be a true partner for your customers. And that's a precious position to be in. When you're the incumbent vendor, you have a big advantage because a new vendor selection costs a lot of energy for your customers. While implementing a new product with the current vendor is repeating the plan before, instead of reinventing it with a new partner. In general, SaaS is about land and expand. And even if you're not selling SaaS, your competitors are. So you need to stay in touch. Make sure that your client achieves their goals using the software. And doing so will prevent competitors from entering your customer base with their own land and expand strategy. Again, keeping a relationship with the customer takes time. You need to help your teams and ensure that they have time and create the right circumstances for this. These relationships are important information sources in developing more situational fluency and create customer success story. And with that, the circle is round. Now, going back to that question before, if you would hire customer advisors internally, let them work with the existing customer advisor and building those customer stories. Continuing that conversation with the customer on the longer journey will create that situation fluency. Now, in summary, the Rake model, supported by customer success stories and pre-sales automation tools, will help you to scale your pre-sales teams when customers are more demanding than ever, when software evolves at the speed of light, and when resources are scarce. Now, how many of you are in an organization like this or similar? Please type in chat. Can you share? Does it resonate to you, or is this the future for you? Dave. Yes, it does resonate. Good. 100%. Happy to hear this. Happy to see this. Now, Garrett, are there any additional questions?
Yeah, so we've got one more here. So what are your recommendations for pre-sales having a designated ongoing work with customers?
What do you mean by that question?
Yeah, it's from an anonymous, and so I can't ask them to clarify here, but just perhaps it means something as far as the ongoing relationship and working with the customers. So maybe post-sale, that ongoing relationship in working with them.
Yeah. Now, I believe that so how many organizations are set up with a product focus? That means that you have the product expertise and you are working with all customers and all prospects. and people just pull you in. What I'm envisioning and what I think the Rake model needs is people that work with just a limited set of customers, not covering everything, and these limited set of customers in that particular industry, you work with them from start to finish. You stay with them. And I recently shared an article on LinkedIn about sales pods, where the difference between pre and post sales, that disappears. Because I believe that there needs to be, let's say, a customer advocate, someone from your company that knows all the ins and outs with that customer and through the entire journey and stays in touch. And I can believe that's easier for big companies. When you work with Shell and Heineken, of course you can have a dedicated person. But I believe you should also have that with a little bit smaller companies. They also need that. And the challenge, of course, is how you handle the SME channel. How can you stay in touch into that extent? And I believe demo automation and automating a lot of the activities, that can be the key here. And you use the information that you gathered from the bigger customers that you're serving. Is that answering that question in some way?
It sounds like it, yeah. So, yes, that answers it. So you're off the hook on that.
Anything else?
Any other questions for Natasja here? Looks like we're in the clear. All right, so I will do my share.
I'd like to thank you before you do the share. Thank you all for joining. And I believe Garrett will say the same, but I just wanted to say hello as well. Garrett, back to you.
Thank you so much. Well, we've been spoiled. It was a great session. Thank you, Natasja, for joining us for DEMOFEST this year. We want to remind everyone that each session you attend is getting you an entry into the raffle prizes that will happen later today. So be sure to attend as many as you can, and you can always rewatch the things from yesterday here in the Hopin platform. The final session today will be 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's a few hours from now, and we'll be announcing the winners of those raffle prizes. So you surely will not want to miss that. The biggest announcement that's going to come in that last session is that DEMOFEST is going on tour. You know, the band is prepped, we're all ready to go, and we're coming to a city near you. So we're going to announce those. I don't even know where we're going yet. And so we're going to announce those coming up at 2 p.m. today. As you go throughout your sessions, if you take a break or go somewhere here in the Hopin platform, please stop by our premier partners here at DEMOFEST in the Expo Hall. Because this is a free event, no money changed hands between us or them. So these people have really gone above and beyond the call to make this such a successful event for all of you guys. So please go visit them, interact with them, and just see what they're all about. Thank you again for joining us for this session. Natasja, wonderful content as always. Such great knowledge was transferred here. Up on the screen, you're going to see the upcoming sessions that you'll be able to join in the next 5-7 minutes. So you can go join those sessions by toggling over to the sessions button left of your screen, and we will hope to see you there soon. So thank you again for joining us, and hope you're enjoying DEMOFEST.
Thank you all.